Hello, everybody. I know you've been getting a lot of information, so hang in there. We're in the home stretch. I want to talk a little bit about championship behaviors because when as I told you yesterday, in my former life, I'm a recovering coach. At one point, I was coaching, and I also work with other teams. And people say, "Well, how do you have those kinds of successes?" And I say to them, "Hey, look, championship results take championship behaviors. It's as simple as that." And if you're not prepared to behave as if you don't want to do the work, if you don't want to have the discipline, then I don't know, you're lying to me or you're lying to you, but you're lying to someone. Now, at this point, I want to quote the great Elise Kessler, who told us earlier that we should just go home and get your teams to win. Well, how does that happen, of course? None of this is prescriptive. It's not a formula for success. But at the end of the day, there certainly are some guiding principles that I think you all want to adhere to, and so we're going to go quickly and get through this. But it starts with this. What is the goal? What is it that you actually want to do? And there's a lot of research around goals, and all I want to tell you is that every time when it's about having a goal versus doing your best, goal wins. Every time. So when you're trying to figure out your goals, there's lots of constructs. You've got SMART goals. You've got all kinds of things out there. But the one thing you want to make sure is really clear is once you've established what it is you actually want to try and do, then you have to figure out, well, what does it actually mean to achieve that? What do I have to actually do to achieve it? So, for example, I'm from New Zealand. I went to university in the US at an institution called Brigham Young University. And when I first got there, we were very bad at volleyball. To give you proof, here's our record in year one. 2-27. We sucked. 2 wins, 27 losses. We were the best blocking team in collegiate men's volleyball. But it turns out that blocking doesn't mean anything relative to winning volleyball matches. You've got to serve, you've got to pass, you've got to side out. There's some transition in there too. And so once we got better at the important skills, all of a sudden our outcomes got better. And so when you're trying to figure out what it is, it could be the best in your country, it could be the best in your zone, be the best in your confederation, be the best in the world. You've got to find out what skills and what level of execution correlate most highly to success so that you're really clear. Not only do I know what I want to achieve, but I also know what I have to do to achieve it. Well, to give myself the best chance of success. So this was our goal. We watched these guys in 2004. I don't know if you remember that picture or remember that moment, but a pretty good deal for them. That looks pretty cool. Let's try and do that. So we all have to make the decision and we have to commit. And what I know about excellence and the pursuit of excellence is that lots of people like the idea of it because it sounds great. I mean, look again. I want to do that. That looks fun. But not everyone is actually prepared to do the work. And so at some point, you have to commit. You have to engage. The next slide has some words on it. I'll just talk you through it. On the blue is the mission statement of the USA Men from 2005. The bit that's a little more interesting is the bit on the right. Reed Priddy, who's a gold medalist and a bronze medalist, was just saying at that time, for us to put those words on paper was a joke. We weren't trending. We weren't the team that was the hottest in the world. No one was looking out for USA. But what we do know is all those words on the left were lived in 2008. And so we have a clear goal. We also want to have a clear set of expectations around what we're going to do to achieve it, how we're going to work, how we're going to train, how we're going to live our lives. And by committing to that statement, in 2005, when we had really no business doing that, all of a sudden, there was an expectation around how we were going to train, how we were going to compete, how we were going to behave. So there's some power in committing to the goal. All right, we also have to figure out what your competitive advantage is, and we all have something that we're good at. I don't know what it is for you or your teams or your federations, but everyone's got something that they can hang their hat on. And for us, that was all we had. We had to try and out-team the rest of the world. Brazil was better, Russia was taller, like we didn't have a chance. But maybe, just maybe, if we could be in it together, we could get something special to happen. So we leaned into team. And also, we had to be good at volleyball. We get that. But our competitive advantage was that. that group, that cohesiveness. So then, here's the process. And again, this isn't a formula. This isn't controlled inputs leading to controlled outputs, but these things are not negotiable. These principles need to be applied in your methodology. First, at some point, you're going to have to work. Unfortunately, if you want to achieve something great or significant, you have to do the work. That's it. And effort is one thing, but just think about sport. It's easy to sweat, right? But that's not practicing, that's working out. You can do that on the treadmill downstairs, right? Practicing is coming and sweating and working with an intention. So it's work hard and it's work smart. Don't forget effort, or don't mistake effort for execution. Then, after you're getting into this process of work, you've got to develop and you've got to improve, and you've got to be able to track those things. We've got to see that we're getting better. And one thing we know about athletes, and I bet you it's the same with people, is they're addicted to improvement. The better they get, the harder they work. All of a sudden, it's wash, rinse, and repeat. Away we go. Also, we got to compete. And the narrative today around competition is not great, because in the world of comparison, we see it as a 1 or a 0. You win, you are everything, you get everything. You lose, you are nothing, you get nothing. It's not that simple, of course. For anyone that actually lives in the arena, it's not that simple. But we have to understand, we have to embrace competition. It's not something to shy away from. Get in there. If you want to be the best, you have to compete against the best. Simple as that. And then, the wonderful thing about competition is it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to learn. And I think that's one thing that we don't acknowledge is the interface between learning and competition. It's really important. Winning's great, but it can mask a lot of problems. And everybody pays more attention after a loss than they do after a win. So, here's some stuff from 2006. USA, 10th place. We're down the bottom there. Not very good. We worked hard. We learned from our mistakes. We tried to get better. And at some point, we stepped onto the court and we were able to achieve. And that's a pretty good day at the office. John's right there. He's in there somewhere, right there. Pretty good stuff. And I'm not saying that this thing is going to be your outcome, because I don't know what your goal is, but that was our goal. And Fabio talked yesterday about the Phase 3 goal. He said, create a global volleyball movement. I want you to think about that in terms of increasing global market share, because that's what we're doing. We're not competing confederation to confederation. We're not competing country to country. It's not NF against NF. It's volleyball against the rest of the world, the rest of the sports market. So everything we can do to increase global market share, we could do. And that's where you guys come in. Maybe your goal's like that, or maybe your goal's like this, or maybe it's 92,000 people in a stadium watching women's volleyball, or maybe it's a massive youth tournament. Who knows? But at the end of the day, we are here to help you. We're here to work with you. And if you have any questions, there you go. Thanks, everybody. All the best.